योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन। You want to chant Gita from Gita? You can try, no problem. We also never knew. It's displayed over there. It's the verse. तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. Very nice. Anybody online?
तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी
तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन.
तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन.
तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी
तपस्विभ्यो अधिको योगी
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी
तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन.
Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Synonyms: tapasvibhya, than the ascetics. Adhikaha, greater. Yogi, the yogi. Jnanibhyaha, than the wise. Api, also. Mataha, considered. Adhikaha, greater. Karmibhyaha, than the fruity workers. Cha, also. Adhikaha, greater. Yogi, the yogi. Tasmat, therefore. Yogi, a transcendentalist. Bhava, just become. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: a yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances be a yogi. Translation with repetition: a yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute Truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it is called Karma Yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called Jnana Yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but He has not mentioned that it is better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga. And this is still more clearly explained in the next verse. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Gita ji, have you read Bhagavad Gita? Never. Okay, that's nice. Here is a chance. You read one verse today. You chanted actually a verse which is spoken by the Lord Himself. And we will see what is the import and meaning of this verse. The verse says, Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyopi matodhikaha, karmibhyaschadhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. And very interesting verse. There are some of the terms which are used and there is a conclusion which is given. So The verse says that a yogi is greater than three people here mentioned. First one is tapasvi. Tapasvi comes from the word tapa. A person who is doing tapa or austerity is called tapasvi or an ascetic in English. Tapasvi bhyo adhiko yogi. A yogi is superior to tapasvi. If you, in mathematics we say he is greater than, we put that symbol. So yogi is greater than a tapasvi. Jnani bhyo pi mato adhikaha. Then there is another class of people who are called the jnanis, who pursue, whose life's goal is pursuit of knowledge. Jnani bhyo pi mato adhika. So the yogi is even superior to jnani. And karmi bhyas chadhiko yogi. The third class of people which is mentioned is the fruitive worker, karmi, who do some actions to enjoy the results of those actions. They are called karmis. Karmi bhyas chadhiko yogi. A yogi is superior to karmi, and then therefore, we use the word therefore, tasmat, when we have told certain things. Since yogi is superior to tapasvi, yogi is superior to jnani, yogi is superior to karmi, tasmat, yogi bhava Arjuna, you become a yogi. That's what the verse is telling. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Somehow it's not. Okay, doesn't matter. So if you see the translation is telling that a yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Now, if you carefully analyze this translation, you can see that it's a conclusion which is given. Therefore, right? It's a recommendation to become a yogi. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Now, if I give you the recommendation, how much likely that you will take that recommendation? Be a yogi. Not much. How about you? Because you know me a little bit, or you know what we are doing. But generally, if you give a recommendation to her, or an unknown person gives a recommendation, we may not take, as he rightly said, I may not take it. I may not take it strongly. But here, the opinion which is given, the recommendation which is given, is by the Supreme Lord. Right? The word that is used is, what is the verse? It's telling Jnani bhyo pi mato adhikaha. Jnani bhyo pi api mata adhika. This is my opinion. Whose opinion is this? The opinion of the Supreme Lord. So where is it mentioned that the Supreme Lord? It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself, the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, which says Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. So it is not coming from some ordinary person. It is the Supreme Lord who is Yogeshwara himself, who is the topmost yogi, the master of all yogis. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijaya Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. That Yogeshwara Krishna is giving a recommendation that you become a yogi. Once we understand the position of the Supreme Lord, that he is Yogeshwara, we may take it seriously. Okay, anyway, it is a recommendation coming from the Supreme Lord, and he is telling you become a yogi. But why is he telling? He is telling this because yogi is greater than ascetic, empiricist, and fruity worker. That he has mentioned, and we will see why and how a yogi is greater than ascetic, empiricist, and fruity worker. And then we will take this recommendation of the Lord or not, we will see. Okay, now first thing, when we talk about the recommendation of becoming a yogi, what is the first thing that is coming to your mind, Geeta ji? Yoga is related to honesty. That's your priority. Okay, what is the definition of yoga? What do you mean when you think you have to become a yogi? No. Control your mind. Okay. Okay. Had it been the first verse of this chapter, maybe I would have told if you do a search in Google, you'll find what is the definition of yoga. Yoga is such a buzzword, right? Everybody, especially not just here, everywhere, people want to practice yoga. Usually yoga refers to some kind of postures, asanas, pranayamas, controlling mind. Who said controlling mind? You said controlling mind? No. You said, right? Controlling mind and breathing process. All these things we know as the definition of yoga. But we are in the penultimate verse of 6th chapter. This is the last but one verse. Next verse is going to be the conclusion which the Supreme Lord is giving. So here we are expected to have more understanding of what yoga is. I have got few verses just from the earlier chapter. It talks about what yoga means. The verse that we had earlier, it says, Sarva bhutastham atmanam, sarva bhutani chatmani, ikshate yoga yuktatma, sarvatra samadarshanaha. Now, here the Supreme Lord is giving a definition of yogi. Sarva bhutastham atmanam. A person is considered to be yogi who is able to see the Lord in every living entity. Sarva bhutastham. I am situated in the heart of every living entity. Sarva bhutastham atmanam. Sarva bhutani chatmani. And all these living entities are existing in me. Ikshate yoga yuktatma. A person who is able to see, ikshate yoga yuktatma, sarvatra samadarshana. He is actually seeing with equal vision. He is considered to be a yogi. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. How many of us see the Lord in the heart of everyone? Do you see the Lord in my heart? That's great. Do you see? Do you see? You see? That's very nice. Okay, if you are able to see, that's good. But that is what a true yogi does. So you are both. There are two true yogis here sitting, who are able to see the Lord in the heart of other living entities. And not just seeing the Lord in the heart of every living entity, is also seeing that every living entity is in the Lord. And the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Then Krishna says further, if you are just able to see the Lord in the heart of every living entity, that is not enough. He is also telling, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasyaham na pranashyami, sacha me na pranashyati. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, who is seeing me everywhere. Now it is going beyond seeing the Lord in the heart of everyone and seeing everyone in the Lord. It is telling, Yomam pasyati sarvatra, who sees me everywhere. Sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything in me. Not just living entities, but everything also is in me. Tasyaham na pranashyami, sachame na pranashyati. That person never gets destroyed, never gets perished. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. This is further more classification. And then he says, Sarva bhuta sthitam yomam bhajati ekatvam astitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sa yogi mai vartate. Sa yogi mai vartate. This is what the definition that the Lord is giving. Sa yogi mai vartate. Who is that yogi? Sarva bhuta sthitam yomam bhajati ekatvam astita. The word bhajati is used here by the Lord for the first time, which means who is engaging in devotional service. Sarva bhuta sthitam yomam, that Lord who is seated in everybody's heart, whom you are able to see, if you are engaging in devotional service to Him, knowing that He is non-different from the Supreme Lord. Are you all there? So Sarva bhuta sthitam yomam, that Lord who is seated in the heart as Paramatma, knowing that He is non-different from me, Krishna is telling, who is worshipping, Sarvatha vartamanopi sa yogi mai vartate. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Super Soul, knowing that I and the Super Soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Sarvatha vartamanopi. He always remains in me in all circumstances. These are some of the definitions we have seen earlier. Now, this verse that we have today, to understand this, let's see the first line of the purport. where Prabhupada is telling that when we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay, that's the definition. So there is an action which is involved, and the action is linking. You have to link your consciousness. Where do you have to link your consciousness to? With the Supreme Absolute Truth. Have you seen the Supreme Absolute Truth? किधर देख लिया? Okay, but where is the Supreme Absolute Truth? Gita ji, have you seen? Honesty is supreme. Honesty is good, but it is the supreme absolute truth. It is not just relative, it is absolute, and it is not just one truth, but the supreme truth. So when we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Right? So that is a definition given. One may question, why should I do this? What is the need for this? And to understand that, of course, the next line, if we understand the definition that when we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute Truth, further it goes on, what are the linking processes? How can I link? And Prabhupada explains further, the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, then it is called Karma Yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called Jnana Yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called Bhakti Yoga. But Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. These are the next portions of the purport. So, but it is all based on that one definition which we saw in the previous slide, which says when we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute Truth. Let's understand this a little more. What is this linking process, and what is consciousness, what is Supreme Absolute Truth, and why do we need to do this? Then when that is clear, then we will see what are the different linking processes as given in this purport. Usually they compare life to a journey, right? Is it true or no? Are you static in one place, or your things are moving in life? It's a journey. Now, if you compare life to be a journey, and imagine a journey which you are taking in a flight, and when you board the flight, do you have any control how the flight is going to take off? No control. Gita ji, you have control. Okay, when the flight is landing, when the flight lands, do you have any control? How is it going to land? You have control? Pilot will control. Okay, pilot is fine, but you are just a passenger. Do you have any control? Similarly, in our life also, when we take birth, we don't have any control. We're just born. When we die, we also don't have control. There's a devotee who was mentioning about his mother not being well and suffering from some disease which is probably terminal. Can you control that? But often people say, if given a choice, I would like to die peacefully. Heart attack should come and I should just die painlessly. Some such thoughts come, right? Where I don't have to go to hospital. I don't have to, go through this painful process of putting some syringe or injections and things like that. Just want to have a peaceful death. But can we control that? if you fall sick tomorrow, can you say, I didn't want, or somehow now sickness has come? I have this mechanism with me by which I can eradicate the sickness from me. I can do that. So what choice do you have in this journey? When you have boarded the flight, what do you do in the flight? What do you do? No, what do you do usually? Say you came from India to watch movies, okay? Sleep, food, eat, eating, sleeping, or reading maybe, or watching some movies and things like that. That is why they say life for each one of us is a journey, and the journey is from B to D, right? From birth to death. But there is an alphabet which comes between B and D. What's that? I don't know, I'm not asking you, I'm asking others. What is the alphabet that comes between B and D? And what does the C stand for? Consciousness, very good. No, that's not right. Don't. What does C stand for? Chanting? Okay. You may know the answer. Okay, let's see. What is cost. Cost, okay. Uh, Honesty doesn't start with C. Panduranga, what is C? Choice. So basically, we have a choice how we spend our time, how we do what we do in life. Actually, it is told, there is a very famous saying I have heard, the great personalities are not born in maternity ward, but by the choices that they make in life. The great personalities are not born in maternity ward, like they're not born in some hospitals. They're born by the choices that they make in life. So the choices that we make in our life are very important because that defines what this journey is going to be, how this journey is going to be. And that we, each one of us, have a control. We can choose that choice, nobody can take from us that power. So, having said that, every one of us, we desire to attain certain goals. Isn't it true? We all have some goals. Who you are, what your goals, we don't know about that, but everybody has a goal in life that he wants to achieve. Right? What's your goal? Previously, okay. Now, manager. Okay, you want to go back home, back to Godhead. What is your goal, Sujata? Very nice. What is your goal, Geeta ji? No goal. That's also a goal. I want to become desireless. I don't want to have any goal. I just want to live life. That also is a nice goal. Interestingly, the Sanskrit terminology define the word goal as sadhya. Sadhya is something that we want to achieve, we want to attain. That's the goal that we want. And the means that we use to achieve that is called sadhana. The path that we follow to achieve that is called sadhana. And who is trying to achieve that is called a sadhaka. Who is a sadhaka? Online? Okay. Online, anybody wants to say who's a sadhaka? They able to hear properly? I don't know. Who's trying to? Who's that? No, no, I don't want the names. Who is that? Who's trying to? All of us, right? All of us are sadhakas. So we have a goal which we want to achieve. That's called the sadhya. And there is a means that we have defined ourselves to achieve that goal. And whoever is trying to do that is called the sadhakas. Are you all there? Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Tattva Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, but you are not Bhagavad Tattva Prabhu. Okay, I think he has slept off. No problem. So the goal or the destination that we want to achieve is called sadhya. But very interestingly, Vedic scriptures say that if you want to achieve the highest goal, now you may have some goals, but if you want to achieve the highest goal, the highest perfection, then you need the mercy of the Lord. Without mercy of the Lord, the highest goal is not achievable. And to become a recipient of the mercy of the Lord, you must do sadhana. You can't say, "Oh, I just don't care." Some people say, "What is? I'm doing whatever comes to my mind." Some people say, we will see that where they fall in, which category they fall in. But what the Lord says, what the Vedic scriptures are telling, that we must follow the sadhana path. We must do some endeavor. We must have some defined process. And when we follow, when we do sincerely, we become the recipient of the mercy of the Lord. That elevates us to achieve the highest perfection, the highest perfection of life, the goal. So what is the necessary thing to achieve the goal, Jagannath Prabhu? Okay, and with sadhana, what will you get? Right, but with sadhana, what are you going to get? What you become, you'll become recipient of what? Well, Lord's mercy. So Lord's mercy will help us achieve the highest goal, right? So now, having said that, very interesting to know that in our life, this sadhya or the goal also can be of different types, right? The goals are not fixed for everyone. And the goal usually that people have, why they are of different types, is because of according to their different desire and the different degree of realization. Because we are all entrapped by Maya. It is not like someone is far advanced than other one. All of us, we are entrapped by Maya. So we see the goal differently. The goal that appears to us, as someone may say, I don't see a goal. I don't know what it is. Somebody may say, my goal is to enjoy, right? And that particular goal, when somebody has, that is called bhakti. Bhakti means I want to just enjoy. It is not that, everybody has got the same goal and everybody is going for the same goal. It is not true, because they have got different desires or different goals based on the different understanding that they have of life, the different degrees of realization, because of the different coverings of Maya. Some people think that my goal in life is just to enjoy. That's fair enough. Some people say that my goal in life is to achieve mukti, salvation. And some people say my goal in life is to achieve bhakti. Some people are saying going back home, back to Godhead, or be engaged in devotional service. These are broadly three goals. You can say Siddhi is another one. Some people try to achieve perfection. But I have put it in three categories because Prabhupada is talking about these three things in the purport. That, some people want to become, follow the path of bhakti or sense enjoyment. Some people want to follow the path of mukti or salvation, and some people want to follow bhakti or devotional service. Those people who do not have any goals, they can see that Vedic literatures are talking, different people in this material world have got different goals like this. Now let's understand where does goal come from and why these goals are important. First one is talking about bhakti or sense enjoyment, right? So persons who are engaged in the materialistic activities, who just yearn or who sincerely hanker for sense pleasure, they consider bhakti as their sadhya or the goal of life. The Vedic scriptures, interestingly, is compared with, what is the Vedic scripture compared with? Huh? Okay. Desiratory, yes. My question was, what Vedic scriptures is compared with? Desiratory. Vedic scripture is Vedic knowledge. No, it is compared with what? He said desiratory. Fruitive. Uh, that is there. That is portion of the Vedic scriptures. But what is it compared with? Vedic scriptures is a wish fulfilling tree or a what do you call that? Kalpataru. Or also it is compared with a Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu is a cow which can fulfill all our desires. So if somebody has got a goal that he wants to just enjoy, he wants to go for pleasure, material pleasure, bhakti, then there are methods which are given in the Vedic scriptures called karma kanda. That by following these methods, by following this particular process, you can achieve that goal. So, little more if we go about these people who are after this what do you call this? The first one, bhakti. If you go a little more to understand their psyche, what do they really want? So they basically want that how I can enjoy my life to the fullest by gratifying all my senses. How do you gratify your senses? Defending, how do you gratify? But that is not gratifying. Eating, sleeping, mating is true. Right? You gratify your senses by eating, by sleeping. How do you gratify your senses by eating? अभी खा के आए ना आप? क्या होता है जब खाते हो? Satisfaction. Satisfaction is a good thing. But there is a hankering that if this rasgulla comes to my mind, in my mouth, if it goes in my mouth, oh, that experience is just amazing, right? True or not? But when we eat, when we put that rasgulla in our mouth, how long it takes to chew that and put it to the belly? नहीं, इतना जल्दी कोई नहीं खाता है. Fraction of second में कैसे उगल जाओगे क्या? How long? 2 or 3 also is less. I would probably say 10 or 20 seconds, maybe less. You will eat, no? You will not just फट से चला गया अंदर, हो गया एक रसगुल्ला. It's not, you eat it. But at the max it lasts for a minute or two. 20, 30 seconds or a minute or two. After that, that pleasure is gone. And imagine if every day I keep giving you rasgullas. Today, rasgulla. Tomorrow, rasgulla. तुमको रसगुल्ला पसंद है तो खा. और दिन में एक बार नहीं, 10 बार, जितने बार खाएगा रसगुल्ला ही डालेंगे मुंह में. How long will you continue? You cannot, right? You need variety. I need laddu now. 1 week rasgulla, I am done. I need some more variety. Now those people who are looking for this bhakti, who are trying to look for pleasure for their senses, they never get satisfied, first thing. It is temporary. They look for varieties. And the third thing, that is the scriptures mentioned it, there is a lot of hard work that has to be done to get that pleasure. It's not easy. घर बैठे बैठे मैं कुछ नहीं करूँगा, पड़ा रहूँगा, कोई इलाके मेरे मुंह में रसगुल्ला डालेगा नहीं, खा खा खा, तो जो रसगुल्ला चाहिए ना, मुंह खोल, मैं डालता रहूँगा. Nobody does that. You have to work hard. श्रुति का गाली सुनना पड़ता है, सब कुछ करना पड़ता है, then only कुछ रसगुल्ला मिल सकता है, वो जो hard earned money से. Doesn't come easy. Then some people, what do they think? That how can I achieve the supremacy in this bhukti? थोड़ा बहुत जो मिल रहा है रसगुल्ला, उससे और ऊपर जा सकते हैं क्या? और कुछ मिल सकता है सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन का, और क्या है? So then the Vedic literatures have got all this flowery language, right? Very, very attractive. You do this, you can enjoy somarasa in company of beautiful women in the heavenly planets. Not just in this life also you enjoy by doing these activities which are mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. After this also, you elevate yourself to heavenly planet and you enjoy. Looks a very promising thing. Looks a very nice thing, right? You know, I can go and enjoy my senses unlimitedly with more avenues as long as I want. But, there is a but, of course, the fundamental definition of bhukti or sense enjoyment is that a person is craving for happiness in the delights of the flesh, of the body. Flesh, all grossly put, and material world has been created to facilitate this desired sense gratification. But what happens is there are two things which are very, very problematic with this bhukti kami or the karmis. First thing is they get bewildered, because you know, when you are hankering after some sense gratification, it is not like that goal is fixed, it is keep changing. You are not satisfied with rasgulla, you are looking for something else, then you try that, you get again satisfied with that, then you look for something else, you get bewildered. Kidhar jaun main? And I need more and more. I'm not satisfied. This can never give me eternal satisfaction. Hankering increases. So they get bewildered, and by their action, they get into a complicated mess of action and reaction. Because I am doing these actions to enjoy, I'm also getting some reactions, and it binds me in this material world. So this the sensual pleasure experienced by people in this material world with this material body is called daihika sukha. Daihika is pertaining to the body, right? Bodily pleasures. And when they want to go back and enjoy with apsaras and this thing, that is called amrutika sukha, where they go to some place like heavenly planets and they become King Indra and then they enjoy there. But interestingly, Bhagavad Gita says, as we all know, Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti. You can enjoy there, but unfortunately that enjoyment is also not permanent. As long as you have got this pious credit, you can remain in heavenly planet, enjoy with apsaras, enjoy the somarasas, but as long as those pious credit comes down, you have to fall down again. Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti. What's wrong if I fallen down, but at least I enjoyed? Some people may think. But the scriptures say those people are foolish, extremely foolish, because they spend so much time pursuing something which is not permanent, which is not eternal, which is temporary. And they worked hard. In the process, they wasted so much of time. And again, they are getting into the same place where there is birth, death, old age, and disease, where they are not free. So those people who are little advanced, they are able to see that this is not the good path. I should not go. Baap re baap, the word is used is, no more material enjoyment. So much of trouble in this path, so many problems, and even if I go for temporary period to heavenly planet, I'll fall down and again I'll suffer in this material world. Better not to do. Their goal in life, they are called the Gyanis, or their goal in life is mukti or salvation. Now mukti, those people who are looking for mukti, their whole understanding of life is somehow or other, this material activities should not bind me. I should become free. Because the moment I'm doing any action in this material world, I'm getting bound. And getting bound means I'm forced to accept a body. This body I may quit, but I'll again accept another body. And I'm forced to continue this birth and death, the cycle of birth and death. So they don't want to get entangled. That's why they are called the empirical philosopher. What does the word empiric mean? Yes, by experience or by observation. They have seen everything that is material world. They consider that this is Maya. This is temporary. This gives an illusion, a perfect illusion for a person that this is permanent and I must enjoy. But the Gyanis, by the vision of advanced knowledge, And by perception and experience, by observation, empirical things, they're able to perceive, no, these are all temporary. I should not get attached to this. I should liberate myself. I should just go and merge with the Brahman. That goal is called mukti or salvation. That goal is called mukti or salvation. What's wrong with mukti? Anything wrong with mukti? We can merge with liberation, but merge with effulgence. And why again you have to come back? Okay. So, okay, there is no action. What is the problem with that? You need action. Close. You're there. Do you know much? Very good. So, what is the problem? Even if you don't enjoy, but still you're free from this material tabernacle, right? You're free from the reactions of material world. You are now no more subjected to the laws of material nature. You're free. So be happy, no? Okay, you're not enjoying with the Lord. सब कुछ चाहिए क्या बस ठीक ठीक है मुक्ति तो मिल गया. Yeah, yes, good try. I mean, I want you to think basically because Krishna is telling that you become yogi, and he is telling yogi is better than ascetic, is better than karmi, is better than jnani. We're talking about, first we spoke about karmi, whose only goal is sense pleasure, because they are so conditioned, they can't think. What is jnana, liberation, doesn't matter. बस भगवान ने दिया है जीवन, खाओ पियो, so that's all. Little, if they are refined, then they think of enjoyment even in the next life. So good try. Pretty close. I mean, that kind of a feeling is also there. Sometimes what happens is when we hear Vedic scriptures and we hear some terms like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvam Asi, and the so-called followers of Jnana Yoga, they say these are Mahavakyas. These are very profound statements, and one should inquire. First of all, to come to that kind of an understanding that a human life can give us that kind of a destination itself is a sign of advancement, because not many people are interested in knowing about it. But even if somebody comes to that stage that he wants to come out of this cycle of birth and death, understands the misery of this material life and wants to go for it, there are statements in Vedas which are saying Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, you become that, you become merged with the Brahman. That is what the Jnanis are trying for. What's wrong with that? That's a question which we should ask, because how bhakti is superior? Of course, the next verse, Krishna very definitively, without any, very conclusively, assertively he says how bhakti yoga is the topmost, but just for our understanding. Actually, the superiority of jnana yoga, first to see how it is superior to karma, there are 4 statements in the Vedic scriptures. They are called sadhana chatushtaya. And the first one that is mentioned in that is called nitya anitya vastu viveka. First one is Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. That means there is a discrimination between eternal and temporary object. How jnana is superior? How does a person come to this understanding that material world is temporary, and how my goal should be superior, more, it should be something which is beyond this materialistic purview. That comes by this vivek, or by this discrimination, that there is a difference between eternal and temporary objects. Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. So there are temporary things, these are all temporary. This whole manifestation is temporary. Right? This is nothing in this world is permanent, including our own body, which will come to an end. But the soul, the spirit soul, is eternal. It continues the journey even beyond the death, even beyond this body. So to be able to discriminate, that viveka is required to be able to discriminate between eternal and temporary. That is how they set their goals on achieving the Brahman. Second one, the sadhana chatushta is iha amruta phalabhoga viraga, renouncing enjoyment of the fruits of this world and the next. Actually, these are all statements of Srila Prabhupada. He has written an essay before 1965 where he is describing the fallacies of people who are following the empirical process, fallacies of the people who are following karma kanda portion. Karma kanda is very easy. We can see that how many difficulties are there. But jnana is something which needs to be properly understood. So to understand that, I am giving the premises based on which the jnanis think that they are superior to karmi. Iha amruta phala bhoga viraga, renouncing enjoyment of the fruits of this world and the next. Sometimes people can see the problem or the difficulties or the temporariness of this material world, but they are not able to see the temporariness of the next life. Somebody who is going to heaven, because it appears Jannat and other things, it is very much glorified, and somebody is getting a position like a Indra and enjoying there, it's great. But these people, Jnanis, they also understand Iha Amruta Phala Bhoga Viraga, renouncing enjoyment of the fruits of this world and the next. And then the third one is Sama Damadi Sadguna, developing 6 qualities. Very importantly, there are 6 qualities which are mentioned. Sama Damadi Sadguna. These are controlling the mind, senses. Sama Dama. Without these qualities, you cannot understand. This knowledge will not even enter, it will not penetrate inside you. Developing 6 qualities such as control of the mind and senses, and mumukshu, and then it's called cultivating the desire for liberation, mukti, right? Now, interestingly, as some of you mentioned that he may have ahankara, he may not have activity there. You told that, but you were not convinced. Now imagine if, just hypothetically, 2 of you, I'll tie you here in a chair, I'll make you sit, bring one rope, I'll tie you. Then I'll go, we'll say, Grantraj, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, we'll go. We will not come tomorrow, we will not come day after tomorrow. You will sit quietly there. What are you going to do? हाँ बांध के रखे हैं, ठीक है, अच्छा ये सब चल रहा है, कुशल मंगल है, ठीक है, 7-8 दिन के बाद रसगुल्ला भी मैं खा लूँगा, कोई बात नहीं, लड्डू भी खा लूँगा, अभी तो बैठा रहता हूँ. How many of you will do that? You're just tightly bound and you can't move anything. What will you do? You'll try to get out. Somehow you'll try to remove. You'll fall, you'll escape from these things. Now after, imagine by some will of providence, you are able to remove that rope. How many of you will continue to sit like this? No, I'm released, I'm removed, everything is fine now. Okay, this position is so nice. Let me not even move my hands. And moment you are sitting here, we are not able to sit, in one position. We have to stretch. You are stretching your legs. You are doing that thing. But imagine you are free now. Very good. I am sitting in this position. How many of us will do? We will not do, because our constitutional position, the Bhagavad Gita says, "Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jato tishtati akarmakrit." Without doing activity, we cannot remain even for a moment. You may say, I am sitting here, where is the activity? I am thinking, my mind is active, something is going on. Without doing action, I cannot remain even for one moment. How is it possible that when liberation happens, when I am free from this material bondage, bandhan, I'll just remain quiet and not do anything? Impossible. That is why this is not long lasting. Even if they go and merge with Brahman, since there is no activity, they fall down. They fall down and they bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. They engage in process of devotion. So when we were talking about sadhya and sadhana, actually the sadhya, which is the goal, can also be compared, like Vedic literatures give the example of a chain. Right? There is a chain, so you have one goal, you achieve that, you come there, then you achieve another goal, then you go there, then you achieve that goal, you go there, it keeps moving. The first portion of that is called karma kanda, where somebody wants to gratify his senses. That's why Vedic literatures talk about 4 things: dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Right? Dharma, if you do religious activities, you'll get artha. People go to temple, Bhagavan दे दे मुझे, धन दे दे, संपत्ति दे दे, जो भी दे दे, वो आएगा तो मैं अपना सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन करूँगा. धर्म, अर्थ, कामा. When they are done with that, they come towards moksha. But after that, the goals, when it is shifting, it comes to prema, pumartha, mohan, that they develop prema, the love for eternal Lord, for the Supreme Lord. That is possible only in the method of bhakti. Of course, talking about the jnana and the fallacies with that, and with this we will conclude this. Just 3 arguments where our scriptures are talking about one Veda Vakya, which is very profound, which all of us should remember. Very simple it is. Nityo Nityanas, very good. Nityo Nityanas Chetanas Chetananam. There is a word, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. This is a verse often quoted by Prabhupada. One of the most powerful Vedic Vakya which we should remember. The meaning of that, this comes from Svetasvatara Upanishad. The meaning of that, he, the Supreme Brahman, is the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternal beings. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So the Nityo Nityanam, that Nitya, that Supreme Lord, he, the Supreme Brahman, is the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternal beings. And he is the Supreme Conscious Beings amongst all conscious beings. Now this is when we were talking about linking our consciousness with the Supreme Absolute Truth. This Mahavakya, this sentence of the Vedic scriptures, will help us reinforce our faith. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. There is a Supreme Brahman who is the Supreme Eternal amongst all eternal beings. So eternal spirit soul is also conscious, is eternal. But there is one Supreme Eternal. There is a Supreme Eternal amongst all the eternal beings, and there is a Supreme Conscious Being amongst all conscious beings. What it says is, there is the identity of each one of us which never gets merged. That identity never gets, your identity never disappears or never vanishes. You continue to remain even after mukti. You don't get merged with Brahman. That's a temporary thing. This verse, because Prabhupada and our Vaishnava Acharyas quote this many times, talk about the individuality of the soul. Soul remains in its constitutional position even after liberation, and it needs engagement, because the constitutional position of Jiva is Jivera Swarupai Nitya Krishna Das. That is why when we engage in bhakti, when we go, even after you achieve sadhya, you continue to remain in the same method that you have been doing of engaging in devotional service after liberation. And that not only gives you the satisfaction that you are hankering, but this is the highest constitutional duty. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshache ahetuki apratihata yenatma suprasidati. People are looking, hankering, where can I get happiness? People whose intelligence is not very developed, they're looking in the material world, karma kandis, how I can gratify my senses. And they have so much of ego, they're not ready to listen. What is this Vedic? They don't have faith in the scriptures. When they advance themselves, they refine little more, they understand, okay, there are some rules and regulations which I can follow, and by following that I can enjoy my senses, yet not get reactions. Some more refinement, they think, okay, I should not just restrict my enjoyment to this material world, I should go further. They think of going to heavenly planet. Some more refinement, they think that, Bapre Bap, this material enjoyment I don't want. I want to be just free from this material tabernacle. I want to be free from this material entanglement. I look for salvation, mukti. They are the jnanis, empiricists. But some more refinement of that knowledge, one understands that this also is temporary, because there is no activity in that, and I'll fall down. And I can never get merged with the Supreme Lord. I can only merge with the Brahma Jyoti. And that Brahma Jyoti merging, whatever that understanding, is not correct, because the individuality of every living entity continues to remain even after liberation. That is why they look for bhakti. And that is the topmost process. And that will be mentioned in the next verse, which Krishna very conclusively will talk about it. I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments. We're done. Yeah. Unless you have any questions. We'll talk on the mic, yeah, because the people online are not able to see. What is it, Mataji?
Because some people they will do karma kanda and some people they will go till
Jnana kanda.
the gnani, they will become gnani and they will look for
Bhakti.
moksha.
Moksha, yeah.
And after that some people look for bhakti. So this all depends upon how well you are able to understand the Vedic literatures. So
Yeah, very good question. Had that been like that, then somebody who's doing karma kanda, there is nothing wrong in that, right? Because you know that after that he'll go to become jnani, he'll continue that process of jnana, then after that he'll come to process of bhakti, he'll continue. But the fallacy in that is not every karmi becomes a jnani. He perpetually remains as a karmi. Not every jnani comes to the stage of bhakti. It takes many, many lifetimes. Whereas some fortunate soul, they understand this when they come in touch with a pure devotee of the Lord. Pure devotee of the Lord, that's the greatest blessing that one can have when he comes in touch with a pure devotee, and when the pure devotee makes one see the different paths and tell him, take to this process of devotion right now in this life. Because in this life itself, if you perfect this, if you achieve that sadhya, the highest goal, that's all you are done. Why you have to worry and take birth again, enter into the womb of a mother and go through this process? Not necessary. In this life you perfect it and go back. So when pure devotee of the Lord comes, by his causeless mercy, we transcend all this time or these paths and take up to this devotion and achieve that perfection. That helps.
thank you.
Any question online? अखिलेश है प्रभु, जगन्नाथ प्रभु तो इधर ही बैठे, श्रीनिवास, सुकीर्ति प्रभु. Are you able to hear me? Sanchita Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yeah,
Good.
able to hear you.
Good. I was
Little bit of echo is there today, but I can hear you. Yeah.
Any question, Mataji?
No, Prabhu.
हिरण्यकशिपु वाला क्वेश्चन हुआ तो यहीं पे मार खाओगे. Go ahead. Mike.
In case of the salvation process.
Forceful in the sense?
We are, because our basically the soul is Satchit.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone wants to get mukti, right? So he actually forcing to get rid of the means actions like, no, we will not do this. We will just means.
I'm not understanding what is the forcing in that. So basically, at least the soul in its evolution of understanding, in its consciousness, is convinced that the enjoyment of material world is temporary, and it also comes with, there is a asterisks with comes conditions apply, where you get reactions and you continue to accept bodies in this material world. At least that living entity is is convinced that that's not worth following, and I should, get detached from this material activities and get salvation, mukti. That much elevation is there. That much of advancement has happened in its in the consciousness. What is the forceful thing in that?
So, forcefully, we are actually trying to detach from the actions.
There is austerity, that is tapas. There's there called empiricist. So you have to observe the temporariness of everything in this material world, and with the process of detachment, which is very difficult, you have to come to this conclusion that I should not engage in this. There is a certain amount of denial, or a force, if you want to say that. There is a certain amount of denial in indulging in those kind of activities. And that is how they achieve the liberation.
But actually that is not the permanent, right?
That's not permanent. Yeah, that's what we spoke. Because if I remove you, I told you, right, you are bound with a rope and the rope is removed. You will not sit like in that position again after that for a long time. Imagine in the position when you are bound, you are trying to do so many things. You are trying to move and you are trying to come out of it. How is it that when you are completely free, you are in the state of liberation, you will sit tight like that? You will not. You'll do some activities. And when there is lack of activities, in the state of being there in that Brahmajyoti planet where there is no activity, devotional activity, you will fall down. After Aruhya Krichena Parampadam, Patanti Adhopatam. They will fall down again into this material world. Geetaji, you have any comments? No problem. You're welcome. People online can hear you. There are some people actually without mic, they'll not be able to.
Hello? Oh.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've been here, and it's been very interesting to learn about the religion and everything. And maybe I'll come again sometime.
Sure, you must. Whenever you want to.
You need to educate me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
This whole this premises has been set up so that we can distribute this knowledge. We were not born with this knowledge when we were earlier there, but we came in touch with this pure devotee of the Lord, and he has written this wonderful book called Bhagavad Gita as it is. His name is Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who at a ripe age of 70 came to this country, America, and started this movement called International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And that's how we all from different parts of the world got in touch with this movement, and our lives got transformed. It's an amazing transformative process where the vision and the perception and the understanding of your life broadens. You see things in a different way because you start seeing through the lens of Vedic scriptures. It makes you look things as they are, not what you want to see. And that's why it makes all the difference. Is there any other question? Okay, if no other questions, we will stop here and see how the final verse of this chapter, Krishna decisively, conclusively talks about the topmost yogi being Bhakti Yogi, and that kind of sums up this chapter, and then we will see further. Thank you all for joining. Granthiraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. So what do you do, Geeta ji?